In this video, I show you my painted miniatures from Arena the Contest. But before we get into that, let me share with you what the GGGG is for this month. Each month, Bob the Beholder picks some of my Patreon supporters to receive gratitude gifts. And for this month of February of 2022, we have 4 $25 credits to my new merch store. If you haven't seen that video, go ahead and click here to find out more about the various merch that I have. Or you can go ahead and use the link below to go to my store. And another Patreon supporter will be chosen by Bob to receive $100 to go towards this month's crowdfunder, which the Patreon supporters are currently voting upon. If you want to find out more, go ahead and use the link below to go to my Patreon page to find out more details and how to get in on that. So I wasn't an original backer for Arena the Contest, but I did go all in with Tanares Adventures, their second Kickstarter. And through all of the delays with COVID, I did receive my first wave of shipping, which is the Arena the Contest base box, as well as a bunch of expansions and the Dragon box. Now, I haven't painted up the Dragon box, nor did I paint up all of the additional heroes that came as part of the original Kickstarter. But I did finish up painting the Elder Dragon and all of the contents of the base box, all of the terrain features from the expansion, the additional enemies that were unlocked, and then of course all of the base heroes as well. Because I'm playing through the campaign rather than the PvP, I found that I don't really need to paint up all of the heroes, especially with the expansions, because I only have 4 of the heroes that's going through the entire campaign. Besides the initial heroes that comes in the base box, to this point, because I have a lot of different playthroughs that I could do with the provided base heroes, at this point I'm only going to paint up the expansion heroes as needed. But if you are playing PvP, you probably will want to paint up that expansion box as well, because you're going to be using the heroes a lot more than what I am doing. Also, I have not yet painted up this guy, this demon, as well as this Hydra. I'm in process still. So these are the only 2 miniatures that came in the expansion of the terrain box set that I have yet to paint. Otherwise, I've done everything else. And I am looking forward to painting up the dragon set. And I think after watching videos of other people who did opt in for the pre-painted dragon set, I do sort of wish that I would have done that, although I am saving significant money by painting it myself. But they did do a really good job with the pre-paints, I think, and I could have saved some time not painting up that box set. But I am actually looking forward to painting up those dragons because I think the sculpts are really cool. And using my method that I used for Archon Studios Dragon, if you want to check that out, go ahead and click here. I basically just spray paint this all black and then just use craft paint as an overcoat, and it's relatively quick to do that. I apologize because I did not do a painting tutorial for all of the miniatures, but I basically use the same techniques doing a zenithal highlight with a rattle can and then using contrast colors to paint up all of these miniatures in very much the same way that I did for Blacklist Games Ultra Quest. So if you want to check out that video, go ahead and click here. The other thing that I did as well was to put on the bottom these 3D printed markers, not only to distinguish themselves, especially the enemies, as well as the heroes in terms of what class they are, but more importantly, for my magnetic condition markers. And I made an entire video about how I made these, so if you want to check that out and make them yourself, go ahead and click here. But I just found that it is really difficult to keep track of all of the conditions that are on these models, and this is just a simple way in order to keep track of the conditions. That meant that I did have to stick a magnet onto all of the models, and originally I was just going to drill a 3mm hole and stick the magnet directly into the base, but the bases are actually really thin. So I did opt to just print out these discs, stick the magnet in, the 3mm by 2mm magnet, and that has worked out really well. And in the case of the monsters, you can also readily identify which color they are. Now, I did paint each of the monsters so that the colors are apparent, so the base is just an additional step just to distinguish which one of the monsters it is. I do really appreciate how Dragori did provide a bunch of inserts so that you could take care of all of these miniatures and fits all the cards and everything like that. But it is a little bit not very efficient. And so I think I can get everything down to 2 boxes by taking the miniatures out of the trays, and actually, because they're now magnetized, having a steel sheet in there, and I'll be able to store everything into 2. As well, all of the cards, I printed this out from Thingiverse, links in the descriptions below. Much more efficient in holding all the cards as well. But other than that, pretty satisfied with how Dragori Games did provide those inserts, and you're able to cart your miniatures around as needed. Overall, I am pretty happy with how all of these turned out, and was able to get this fairly quickly to the table. I've been meaning to play through the campaign, and I'm anticipating the delivery of Tanares Adventures, which I think beefs up the campaign system even more, so I'm really excited about that. But in cases like this where you're receiving a lot of miniatures, I actually prefer to get it in 2 shipments, because I can break it down and my painting down a little bit more so that it is manageable. And in this way, I was able to get half of the content done as I went all in, and then when the second half from Tanares comes, I won't have as much to paint. So that is really a good way, I think, to go ahead and pay that extra money for 2-wave shipping, and that way you can get your painting done in a more manageable way. I did play the first scenario, and I do enjoy this game quite a bit, and am looking forward to continuing in the campaign. And as more dungeon crawlers do come in, similar ones that were delayed last year, hopefully they're going to be coming in this year. I think that 2022 is going to be a banner year for playing dungeon crawlers. This is a pretty short video, so thank you very much. Please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more content, gaming content and hobbying content. I hope this inspires you to go ahead and paint up your set if you haven't done so already. Again, click on the links below if you want to go to my store, or if you want to go to my Patreon page to get in on those GGGGs. Otherwise, happy gaming, happy painting. We'll see you next time.